The midnight of the century, as we old comrades call it, the midnight of the century is the Hitler-Stalin Pact, the worst moment in the history of civilization. The handshake between Molotov and Ribbentrop, the raising of the swastika flag over Moscow airport, the singing of the Horst Wessel lied on Moscow radio, the embrace of the two dictators, the crushing of Poland between them, the destruction of the Baltic, abolition really of the Baltic states, and the preparation for a ghastly war. Well, Mr. Molotov was back in Berlin, because the alliance went on well into the 40s, as you know, on one balmy night in late 1940, early 1941, and he had to take shelter with his ghastly Nazi hosts because the RAF had arrived on a rather paltry raid, but it was enough to send the Nazis and their guests, rather embarrassed, down into the shelter. And while Molotov was there with his Nazi friends, he said, "I thought you told me this could not happen." I don't think the pilots knew how brilliantly they had performed on this occasion, but if you allow yourself to think about this rather magnificent moment where it's Britain's airmen against Hitler and Stalin combined, mantles the English cheek with a great blush of pride, then you reflect on, you are obliged to reflect on the following. 2 years before, a group of Germans who we know them by their, some of them by their individual names, some of them by their collective name, the Kreisau Group, a group of very important German soldiers and diplomats and officers and civilian politicians, grouped around the heroic, I think, especially heroic, General Helmut von Moltke. Ludwig Beck was another member of it. Admiral Canaris was briefly a member, I believe. At my old college in Oxford, we had an annual commemoration for Adam von Trott-Zussolz, who was another member of it, later to give his life hideously in the plot to kill Hitler in 1944. They sent an envoy to Neville Chamberlain and said, if you and your foreign minister, Mr. Halifax, if you will guarantee that you will stand by Czechoslovakia, in other words, if you will say that a move into Czechoslovakia means war, we can decapitate the Nazi regime and tell the German people we have saved them not just from the foul dictator, but from war as well, that we have struck for peace as well as for democracy. But we need your guarantee that you will fight for Czechoslovakia before we can act. The risk these gentlemen took in making this move is something that's very difficult to imagine as a matter of quality and bravery. And they were told, forget it. We like the present situation in Germany. We hope, rather, to make an alliance with it against Stalin, against communism. And as Trotsky was the first to point out, once they made that pact at Munich with Hitler, ignoring the opposition in Germany, they made the Hitler-Stalin Pact inevitable. So that the whole might of Britain, air, navy and military, which was exerted on Hitler's side in 1938, should later be used to bomb and destroy German civilians, is a conclusion that's inescapable, very Stalin pointed out, and, if you like, impossible to live with. And to make it worse, we find, within a few years of this, that the obliteration of the city of Dresden, one of the most extraordinary achievements of European civilization, the entire obliteration of it and most of its people, is being justified for one reason and one reason alone. If we do it, it will impress Joseph Stalin, whose forces are pressing in on the other end. Now, I think if you're going to destroy a cultural treasure house and ignite a firestorm that is designed to consume all of the people in it, you had better have a better reason than it might bring a smile to Joseph Stalin's face. And this is not part of our official history. This is not what we're taught in school.